February 3rd. Fuck, this year's flying around. And it's just going by quick. How's everybody doing? Welcome into the vault. Look, we got blinking lights today. Wayne never lets me have blinking lights. That's why I went with the blinking lights thing today. So I thought that it would be kind of cool. So we are just here hanging out with you guys. We'll be taking your comments and your questions. We're going to be talking about other stuff. I wanted to talk about right now is our sponsor. We got a new sponsor for Zetro's Toxic Vault. It's called Hella Hot Sauce. Put that up there, Walt. There's actually that one. They're these metalheads that make. I think they're out of Santa Cruz, actually, out that way.
Says Florida.
That's Florida Heat because they make a brand. They make a flavor for Florida Frank. That's called Florida Heat.
Yes, Florida Frank.
Florida Frank from Hatebreed. They're these metal guys, and they've actually made a couple. And I remember, it looks killer. Good packaging. And I'm going to tell you something.
The Gator.
This shit is fucking hot, dude. Even their mild shit has got some spice to it. But what I like about this sauce, and I don't know if you guys remember when we had the Ghoul guy in, he gave me some of their sauce that this company makes. And I savored that shit, man. I didn't like share it with anybody. I hid it in the fucking refrigerator because I didn't want anybody to like use it because it had a perfect amount of heat to it. So these guys had hit me up recently and said, man, we'd love to sponsor the show. And we got, well, me being an Exodus and us being, Mexican food being our favorite type of food. And our guys love hot sauce. I mean, I don't even think they make it hot enough for Lealtas. Him and Gary Holt, they fucking eat.
I love it hot,
They
too.
burn their I mean, it's good. And, I mean, it's like the hotter, the better. For some people, I like to taste it myself. I'm more into the taste. It's like when I go to get barbecue, I like the medium. I never get the too hot sauce because I want to enjoy the shit, people. Now, when I go out to dinner, if I go to Buffalo Wild Wings or I go to eat hot
Wings
stuff.
Wings are great hot, yes.
I have to have a stack of fucking napkins this big because I literally sweat so much just eating. And I can take it and I love the flavor, but man, it just sweats. Even on tour with the guys, I got to ask the waiter for a fucking towel because it's like, dude, it just rains off me and I love it. It's great.
I think it's supposed to be good for you. I've heard that hot pepper.
Well, sweating is good for you, so I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. So we want to thank Hella Hot Sauce. Welcome them to Zetro's Toxic Vault family. Go to their website if you guys haven't heard of this stuff before or haven't gotten any. If you're into fucking hot sauce, I mean, I was taking this shit the other day and just taking it and putting it on chips and eating it, and I was like, wow, I was sweating my ass out. But I think
I like it on eggs.
I like it on eggs too. I think it on then. Tell us what you guys like your hot sauce on because what we're going to do is...
It's a hot new sponsor, huh?
It's a hot new sponsor. We're going to give some bottles of this away. So me and Walter haven't decided how we're doing. What I think I'd like is I would like 3... We got 3 bottles to give away. I want 3 recipes of something good with hot sauce that you put in. And don't go, I put it in my eggs and my chorizo. No shit, everybody fucking does that. So come up with something cool. We'll look at it and then we'll tell you if you've won or not. You'll have to go to greyhavenmedia.net, say I won this, and we will send this to you because that's the only way I can get your address and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do on that. Now, since we're on the subject of sponsors, we might as well give our sponsor out. Now, these guys have been with us from the beginning. Death Wish Coffee, Jeff Ayers and Death Wish Coffee. They sponsor a ton of other bands and other musicians. I'm Hella Hot Sauce. You'll have to go to www.hellahothotsauce and get their stuff. But Death Wish Coffee you can get in most of your grocery stores and most of your anywhere your supermarkets, main stuff. This stuff is full of fire. I mean, if you need to wake up in the morning,
World's strongest coffee.
and they ain't bullshitting with that. And they actually have a Valhalla brand that Zach Wilde, like, that's his personal brand, but you can get it, which is even stronger than this. They have it in instant. They have Keurigs now, and they have all kinds of stuff. So what we have we want to. I guess we're gonna kick out our sponsors. We have 2 of these coffee cans
with stickers and bandanas
and Death Wish coffee
sunglasses.
So you could put on Death Wish coffee and be cool like that. So we're gonna give these away as well. How are we gonna do that, Walt? I'm gonna let you come up. No bullshit. You got to come up. This guy. Walter's got to help me out.
I'm trying to take down the comments.
I see how many.
Okay, some of the best questions today. Okay, we're gonna pick the best questions when this.
So that's what I'm saying.
Good questions.
Good one. So 2 of the best questions will win the by the end of the thing. We'll go on. Walter's gonna write down. Will win the Death Wish coffee prize pack. Although I'm out of coffee, so I have no coffee to give you. That's why it's going to be a bandana, some stickers, some sunglasses where you walk around, you're the man holding the Death Wish coffee logo right there. And then, of course, this cool-ass hard coffee canister that really looks cool, and I love it. As soon as I got these in, Vicky, she had to have one. So, boom, that was one right away. But that's what we're going to do from there, just to get our sponsors out. So remember, I need 3 of the best killer recipes to get some of the hot sauce sent to you from Hella Hot Sauce. Hella, it's Hella Hot Sauce. I'm renaming them. Hella Hot Sauce.
That's what we say in Cali.
We say Hella. We just say Hella. There's got a hella shit. And I've got hella weed here that I'm burning.
And he's hella stoned.
And you can tell by looking at my fucking eyes. And all you people in Sweden, because, of course, we got strip search there last year. I always have to show my pipe and bow to you guys and your borders. Look, fuckers, we can smoke weed in California. Legally. Legally. So, So go there, and the questions will go. And other things on the horizon we were going to talk about today was, we did an episode on Legacy, and we did an episode on the recording of the Legacy demo, and we talked about the process, but we never really spoke about each of the songs, and so I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit today about because I wrote the lyrics to all the songs on the demo, and so I just wanted to let you guys know kind of where they were coming from. Walter, every time you write, you shaking my screen over there. Watch, right. Watch it, like this is you're doing that. You can't do that.
I'm giving it a special effect.
He's doing effects on there.
Low budget.
It's low budget. Look at my lights. Look at my set. Bullshit. Anyway, so I wanted to talk to you guys about where the songs came from and where they were, where I was at that time that I was writing them. Now, when I started writing, or when I joined Legacy, my approach to writing lyrics was more in a fantasy type vein. I really like the Dio, Rainbow type, Black Sabbath type, very mystical, long words, conjure and stuff like that, the realm, words like that. And Eric Peterson was very much, to this day, still is geared that way. Just listen to a Testament record or for the most part, Dragon Lord. But I kind of wrote in that. When I got into Exodus is when I wrote more about social stuff necessarily, because Exodus was more street violence and social aware and things like that. And so I felt that, I wrote like Gary. I kind of, fed off, one of the first songs I wrote in Exodus was Chemical, you know what I mean? And it was a really kind of off the riff, a big, obviously the word chemical, and it was about toxic waste polluters and the politicians that take the kickbacks. And that was some of the first time I'd ever really written, about, socially aware issue, because that's what Exodus wrote about.
But in Legacy, you're more mythical.
More mythical, definitely. More fantasy, more dream-ridden. So a lot of the content was dark, but still. So going by the tracks on that, and I believe it opens with Raging Waters, right?
It's 4 songs.
And Raging Waters actually came from, I was going to LA to do some work in like late 83 or 84. And I went by this sign that was for a water park that everybody knows now, especially if you live in California. It's a chain. And it was like, come visit Raging Waters. And I was like, wow, that's a cool name for a song. So I took that name, and what I did was wrote it about the mysteries behind the Bermuda Triangle, how so many people disappear, and ships are never people are never found, and or sometimes they find the ships and it's completely empty. The people are never to be heard from again. And I came up with this whole idea that this guy named Volton and his vessels come in and take anybody that comes in, and if they fly in, they bring them down, and then they take the people away, never to be heard from. And that was my interpretation. Again, another fantasy thing.
And just to throw a question, how old were you during this time?
Okay, that was I was 19, just turning 20.
There you go, Tom.
Just turning 20 when I was writing this. So a lot of the ideas were, again, because I was always fascinated with the Bermuda Triangle. The idea of the fact that if you fly in or your boat goes in, your boat may come out and you're not on it. And in fact, it was from a 70s horror movie called Satan's Triangle. And I think it says that in there, the Devil's Triangle, Satan's Triangle, or something like that in the song.
I remember that, yeah.
So I basically, and that was one that I actually came up with the main riff with, and I would do this a lot. I would tell Eric, play this. And Eric picked up on it. So I didn't get credit for writing the riff, but I mouthed the riff. It was the same thing. I mean, that's where the riff came from. And so then I came up, but I wrote all of the lyrics on that. And then I think the next up was Reign of Terror, right? I think, and actually, I only wrote one little part in that.
And why didn't that make the album? Was that the one that didn't make the album?
Okay. Now, I wasn't in the band at that time.
That's true.
So I can't answer that question. But this was a Derek Ramirez song all the way from the beginning. And if anybody knows the story of Legacy, the first two guitar players was Derek and Eric. Not cousins. Derek and their cousins, not Eric and Alex. And Derek, he came up with the Derek came up with that. Plus, he wrote the lyrics to that song. Now, originally, the song was called Destroyer, because if you in the first line of the song is marching our way through the cliffs of the dead, taking Islam by command, killing our victims and taking us victims high and third right, and machine guns are roaring, the words of blast, destroyers claim their fate. It was all Destroyer, and so we changed it to Reign of Terror. So it was basically about Hitler's Third Reich and the way he ran through Europe and kind of thing. But Derek wrote those. The only part I wrote in this song was Black Magic 4. That one part that goes like that, kind of slow. And that was it. Oh. And so...
AWC Thrasher says, Lars gets credit for mouthing riffs in Metallica. Did you know that?
No. Really?
He's guy.
Wow. I guess he would. I don't know. I'm not there in the room, so I don't know how they do it. Everybody does it different. You know what I mean? So
I got a few questions that we'll throw in here.
Okay.
Where is Death Wish Coffee made from? Where's the?
They're back east. They're back east. Okay. They're in Connecticut or something like that.
And hello, Marcus from Sacramento, Greg from Toronto, Claire from Liverpool, and Leah from Santa Rosa. Hey guys, and Kevin. Anyway, we're doing that. Continue on with the legacy. That's good. Good stuff.
So cool. What's up? Yeah, Claire, keep my beer. We're on that, young lady. You know that. Say hello to the family and everybody. I'm sure they're watching. Anyway, so the next song was Alone in the Dark, I believe, right? Wasn't it Alone in the Dark?
I wish I had the list right in front of me.
See, I don't. Well, I'll go into the Alone in the Dark anyway while Walter looks it up. Alone in the Dark came from the riff. Now, we were in practice one day, and Eric played the dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And then all of a sudden Alex came in and went wah 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 wah. And to me I was like, okay, that's the chorus. That's the chorus. So what does it follow? What follows it? Alone in the dark is the syllables match the riff. That's why. So I wrote the lyrics around the title that I had come with first because the title matched. Alone in the dark where the demons are torturing me. The dark passages of revenge is all that I see. So I wrote that like out of a dream sequence, meaning all of the things that you fear that are in your dreams, I kind of bring through that song like the hissing of a cobra's tongue, the sound and feel of ripping flesh, fall 2,000 feet from the sky. Basically, those are all quick images of the tongue hissing you at you, and then all of a sudden you're falling. Has anybody ever had a dream where you've fallen and right before you're going to land, you wake up, fall 2,000 feet from the sky? This terror has controlled my life. It's let my only weakness known. I need to get this hell from my head. So it's all about a dream. It's all about a dream sequence and the nightmares that happen in that dream because, again, you're sleeping and you're alone in the dark. So that's where the lyrical content from that came from. And was it Over the Wall that was on there?
No, it's Burnt, Reign of Terror,
Oh, and
Alone in
Burnt
the Dark.
Offerings. That's right. And Burnt Offerings was one of the first ones that I wrote
That's
for. That actually opens it.
Yeah.
That actually opens it. And the first lines of the song are summoned to a house of seance. Now, I'm a horror movie guy. Everybody knows that. I mean, wait till you see my motorcycle that just got done. I'll be putting that online real soon. It's beautiful. It's all done in horror motif.
By Lee Diaz.
Thank you, Lee Diaz. You are the fucking queen. And so there's a movie from 1976 called Burnt Offerings. And I was very proud of that movie. And the only reason was because it was filmed at the Dunsmuir House in Oakland. And it's with Oliver Reed and Karen Black. And I believe it's one of Betty Davis's. No, it couldn't have been her last role because she kept acting. It was with Betty Davis as well. She played the old mother. And it was a very creepy movie. And so I kind of wrote the lyrics based a little bit on the creepy haunted house and the experiences that had come in that creepy haunted house. So going back to the Legacy demo, most of the subjects are very dark, but other than really Reign of Terror, which I didn't write lyrically, it was fantasy, and everything else that I wrote was fantasy. For Legacy 2, The Haunting, Over the Wall, Blessed in Contempt, Curse of the Legions of Death. Those are all songs that we wrote where the witches grow restless, the priests are impatient, the legions scream. It's just all these cool words that sounded cool together like a force. So that's kind of where I was going lyrically with that. But then again, like I said, when I joined Exodus in 1986, their approach was more straightforward, very tongue-in-cheek, and very. I always say it's kick in your face and rape and murder your wife. I just love that. I mean, that exemplifies what we do, and I think that, to be honest with you, that was always my main draw to Exodus. There would have been no Legacy had there been no Exodus. Not because of, had nothing to do with Metallica. It was because most bands, violence, the forbidden, everybody, we all love Metallica and everybody respected his shit, but everybody wanted to be like Exodus. They did.
I think so.
They did, because there was the shows were just maniacal, the crowds were crazy, the songs were brutal, the characters, between Zetro and Gary, Bailoff, not even Zetro, Bailoff
Gary and
who came up with that rape and murder your wife part? Was it
well,
Gary or
was
Paul?
it? I would say it was Gary. It was Gary Paul, because those two thought a lot alike. A lot of the reasons why Bonded by Blood is what it is because Bailoff and Gary worked very, very hand in hand. It's a shame about Paul not being there. I mean, honestly, I wasn't supposed to be in the band at the time of Temple of the Damned. I wasn't. It was supposed to be Paul, unfortunately. And wasn't yesterday. We had 2 anniversaries yesterday, right? Tell us. Talk about that, Walt.
So, yeah, I brought it. He didn't know this, but yesterday, of course.
Well, I knew one of them.
Right.
I knew Paul.
Paul had, it's the anniversary of his death, February 2nd.
I didn't even know my own record.
And also, I told him that is the anniversary of Temple of the Damned, which is one of my favorite comeback albums from Exodus.
I know months and times and periods when they came out, but I can't tell you the exact.
You have to double check.
Exactly. I'm like, oh my god, double check that. I think like Fabulous came out in January.
We just had the Fabulous anniversary last week.
Yeah, right. See, yeah, there's
at the end of January. So yes. Anyway, a couple little questions. Hollywood Jack says, "Hey Zet, you should reopen the Omni. That's a killer idea, isn't it?"
Unfortunately, is that the building was not kept up, and to get the license to do the liquor license down in that part of town, and honestly, that part of town was never the greatest in the '80s, and as great as it sounds, man, nobody would go there anymore, man. It's really a bad area. You got to go in there strapped straight up. It's like, it's just too bad, but. Sometimes, you know what you say, and I'm the first one, you have to say goodbye to those great times, and I'm the first one that hates it, because I loved all of the venues. I mean, I go down San Pablo sometimes, and I rubberneck fucking Ruthies like it's like, oh my God. And then 4,000 images and things hit my head from memories that I fucking had there. At the parking lot across the street, at Big O, on the street, I mean, from anything, the bathroom, whatever. It was just one of those fucking things, you know, so.
All right. Another good question. Thars from UK says, "Hey, Zet and Walt, good to see you live again. Question for Zet. When ACDC toured without Brian Johnson, were you in the frame to sing with them before Axl got it?"
I know. I was in the list. I was in the mention. Revolver put me at number 5, right?
I was contacted by management to actually take one of my videos that I shot of ACDC and to give them like a best of Steve. If anybody's ever seen an ACDC,
we're gonna live stream. I'm gonna live stream on my channel.
It is dead on. Like,
and the guys I have are fucking. The guys I have are just top notch. I have Will Carroll playing drums, and if I don't have Will, because Death Angel's on the road, Tom Hunting steps in. My Angus, Dave Chapman, is just absolutely the best Angus. I mean, he looks like him, he plays like him, he moves like him, he dresses like him. My rhythm player who plays Malcolm, Joel Proto, is just awesome. Nobody so far. Dave and I have been doing it for 10 years. Joe's been in the band probably the last 3 or 4. And I'll say this, or maybe even longer now, he's the best one we've had. And then just in the last year and a half, from the Butlers and Force of Habit album, which I'm going to have Mike in here. I talked to Mike last week. Butler's coming in. We're going to talk. And Mike Butlers does a part of Cliff Williams. And we do the Bon Scott era, and we do the deep cuts. We don't always do, I never play Highway to Hell, because you can turn the fucking radio on and hear it after an hour. I don't play that. I do most of Bad Boy Boogie, Let There Be Rock. I do Little Lover. We do Rock and Roll Singer. I mean, I do a whole set where I'll just do deep cuts. Dog Eat Dog. Night Prowler. I play Night Prowler. I do all the killer Bon Scott stuff, and you could close your fucking eyes.
Sin City, I love that song.
Exactly, and we do that. We do TNT. We do Squealer. We do What's Next to the Moon.
And it's almost like you've taken on these songs.
Blues.
You don't even practice them. You just go out there and do them because you guys.
Well, actually, we do. We have one. We actually have a rehearsal before every show. But I'll tell you what, my guys are very well peppered. They don't need the practice. And I'll tell you what, So everybody all over the world outside of California, be looking for the next month and a half, 2 months. ACDC, my tribute band, we're going to do a live stream, and so I'm sure we'll have to do some. I got to get a venue to do it, so I'm going to have to do some type of pay-per-view. I won't charge you all that much money, but if you've never seen this before, I do fucking Bon Scott pretty goddamn good. And we do it ACDC.
I think you do it so good that when you're 70, you'll be doing it at Lake Tahoe.
I'm planning on later this year. Dave's retiring. My Angus is retiring from his job at the end of this month, and then he's a free man. We've already talked about that. But me and Mr. Dave Chapman have already spoke about this. I would love to go to Vegas or do to the casinos, or even go over to the festivals over in Europe and play with you guys. But I'm going to be able to do that now. So
it's funny because actually that idea came from a backyard party that I thought of, and put together three of the guys right there at the party. John Allen, you were there. We all talked about it.
And now none of those guys are left. It's only ever being Dave after what? It'd be 11 years now. I've only
Dave
gone
is
after
great. If,
12,
what I got to say,
09,
and I tell Dave this all the time. You take away Steve or you take away David Chapman, and you just have an AC/DC cover band. But when they both are playing, it takes you back to that moment in time, and his voice is just like it. His guitar playing is just like it's magical.
I mean,
so,
again, because I play in Exodus, I know how to approach a band and make it sound the right way. If we were not that good, or if we couldn't do it justice, I wouldn't do it, nor would I sell you guys on it, because I'm the singer for Exodus. That's what I fucking do. You know what I mean? That's what my trip is. That's how you know. But if you know, everybody's always said for years, if you listen to my voice, the similarity to Bon is very much so, because I really take the derivative from it. I've always wanted to be that. So I'm kind of, when I sing my lyrics in my style of metal, my style of rock, and in the way he approached it, it doesn't sound like him, because it's two different musical styles, two different genres anyway. They're more straightforward, heavy rock. We're thrash metal, So, but when you hear us do AC/DC covers, which we've done in the past, we did Overdose and we did Dirty Deeds on Temple of the Damned. That's what you're going to get for my tribute band, basically. It's pretty fucking spot on.
All right, and here we go on.
Not to pump my own horn or nothing, really.
So we will hear more from that.
Yes.
And I'm getting a lot of a couple Thrash Titans things. One thing I'll say briefly about Thrash Titans, it was an event that was made from something bad happening, cancer hitting a certain band member, two band members, Chuck and the other Chuck Schigener from Death, and Chuck Billy. But unless something like that ever happens again, and we always don't want the bad things to happen, that's the only way that it'll ever happen again. And it happens with the band members themselves, not with me, but the band members themselves deciding to do something good. And that's how it happens.
It's all internal calls.
So
that's how it starts. Everybody will go.
It's like a
because
snowball.
The Thrash of the Titans, to be honest with you guys, started with me. And what had happened was I got a call from Eric, and he said, Zet, we want to do a benefit show for Chuck, and we'll do it as legacy, not testament. And I said, because if you notice, Thrash of the Titans, that's legacy.
I think I know who came up with that.
Right.
I called
Was
you.
it you?
Yes, it was me, because I decided to.
See, I didn't even have
I
to
knew
go
that
that
Chuck
far.
couldn't sing legacy.
But what did I say next? I said, is Chuck cool with this? And then Eric called me and said, Chuck's on board. He think it'd be a great idea. So then it started from there. Then they go, hey, well, let's call this band and see if they're into it, because thrash bands, especially Bay Area ones, are a very close-knit family. It wasn't like anybody wanted to go up there and get their jollies off because there were going to be, people are going to come. Let's go do it for once. People were there to help and make it the event that it was. So, like Walter said, there had to be a cause like that for us to go again. You know what I mean? At that expense, but it was legendary. To me, I think it restarted thrash metal because we were all dead up until that point. And from then on, we put out a record because Paul was supposed to do what was to be Temple of the Damned.
That was his last big concert, by the way, was Thrash Titans.
Yeah, right. I believe that's
yeah.
right. Because I went up and sang Brain Dead with them, I think, once, right? I did. I sang one song with Exorcist that night. and they were supposed to do tempo with him. So then we went in and did it, and then Death Angel did an album, and then Testament kind of got back together with the original lineup in 2005, and by 2010 they had done Formation of Damnation, and other bands were starting to do the same thing, Forbidden, and so on. And so I think
It revitalized.
I really do. I think so. I think Anthrax was still doing stuff, but that helped juice Anthrax a little bit.
It was the
you
only
know?
show where SOD and Anthrax ever played together.
Yeah.
So it was a special
great.
night,
Great
but
night.
it was for a special
remember it.
person.
Yep.
And it was his misfortune to have cancer. And that's why, out of something good, out of something bad, something good did happen. But that's everyone always asks me about another Thrash Titans. It's always for a cause, but who knows? And we'll have to see.
Yep.
Anyway, lots of those questions. And someone wanted to know if you had any comments for their teacher on Frank Zappa. What do you know about Frank?
Comments for their teacher.
Well, it was a teacher wanted to know if you ever heard of Frank Zappa and what you know about him.
Okay,
But
I'm 50. I'm going to be 57. Are you kidding? Do you want me to sing "Titties and Beer" for you in your class?
You could do that.
I don't know. It was the black is night. It was the moon is right. I know. Amazing player. I got to become really good friends at one point with Terry Bozzio, who's an amazing drummer, who was drummer of Mothers. Joe's Garage is probably it exemplifies what Frank Zappa was, but I'd say a man way ahead of his time on every single level that there is, and that's politically, mentally, lyrically, musically, just everything. And his children are all talented fucking kids. Every goddamn last one of them. The daughter is great. Dweezil is a hell of a guitar player.
Well, that's more than I thought you'd come up with.
No, man, I know my Frank Zappa, bro. I appreciate. In the 70s, there wasn't heavy metal, and I started listening to Led Zeppelin when I was 8 fucking years old, so you're grabbing for shit like that at that age, you know what I mean? Your only outlet is the radio and so on. So yeah, Frank Zappa, definitely. So you tell your teacher, that's definitely a man of music, for sure. The Mother's a great band.
All right, and Joshua wants to know, have you ever seen the movie The Changeling starring George C. Scott, 1980? Great horror movie.
Yes, it is. It's been a long time since I've seen that. I believe that's with his wife, too. She was in that. That's a long time, but yes. And there's a certain set of movies that came out like between 79 and 81 that were great.
The Thing, I think, was one.
That was one. Scanners was another one. And there was a movie called Silent Scream with Burt Young. He was Rocky's brother-in-law. You know, the Burt Young. He was in it. There were certain movies like that, Prom Night, that came out when it was just the turn of the 70s going into the 80s that were just really, really, really cool, kind of maybe scary slasher haunted type of things. There's actually a movie from the early 80s about 4 old men called Ghost Story, which is really great. But if you guys have not seen, go to Amazon. You got to rent it. It's called The Witch. I'm telling you right now, this is one of the best horror films I have seen. I have to give Kirk Hammett 100% credit for this, because I seen something on him saying about you got to check this movie out. You got to see this flick. And so, I got to give him his credit. He fucking knows horror. He knows his shit. And I can't say anything more about. Check out The Witch. You will be glad you did. Most of the dialogue is taken from the actual witch trials back in the 1600s and 1700s, and a lot, and from the time back then. And it's very dark. That's all I'll say. Very, very dark.
Also, Charlie reminds us that 3 days ago, also, since we're talking about time periods, was Jeff Hanneman's birthday.
That's right.
How about some of your Jeff moments, or what do you remember about Jeff?
He was always fun. Always, he liked to drink. He was always drinking when I seen him, but he was always very, that or beer.
Yeah,
but he's very friendly.
Heineken.
Always very, very friendly. I always had fun with him when I wasn't with him all that much.
And you guys had a special connection with Exodus and Slayer because both of them started about the same time and were doing
the bands
shows
were,
together.
it was like there were certain bands like that were on the West Coast, like Slayer, Metallica, Exodus, Suicidal, Legacy, or Testament, or whatever. Whichever one you looked at that time. There were certain bands, Armored Saint. There were certain bands that were in this fraternity kind of together. And we played Megadeth. We all played together, so we did a lot of shows with them. And even when I wasn't in Exodus and Bailoff was, I did a lot of shows. I would go to the shows and hang out after and go to the parties with those guys. So yeah, definitely missed. And we miss the Angel of Death. We all do. I know everybody. Dio too. I mean, there's so many guys we all miss, but
Anyway,
gotta keep in shape, people.
Marcus goes back to the Omni and said he had his car battery stolen from the Omni.
See?
And he had to hitchhike back to San Jose.
See?
But we all have stories. I had a van that was broken. All my video equipment was stolen one night, but it wasn't in a great area. Anyway, another good question is Tyro44. What happened to the Exodus song Die by His Hand? I know Kirk took part of it for Creeping Death.
Well, then you just answered your own question.
And why not keep the song? Well, maybe because
I don't think that. I don't know.
That was before your time.
That was before my time, and I've heard that many times, but because they do play that part in the song, I don't feel that Gary's ever felt that he needed to resurrect it. You know what I mean? But even live or some fun show, we've never thrown it in. Maybe someday. I don't know. I've never played it before, so it would be fun.
A lot of people are commenting about the ACDC show that you say might happen. So good idea.
That's not mine. We're doing it. We're going to have it. So everybody around the world that hasn't seen it, we're going to do it. Just keep posted. I was talking to Wayne, the producer, last week about it. We're getting it going. I would say look for where we in February now. Look for March. I'm going to try to get it in the next month so there's time to promote it so you guys know. But I'm going to do it. We're definitely going to do it. So I'm glad you guys are commenting on that. It'll give me more of a push to get it done. But I've already spoke on it. I'm already trying to get the venue in line. I'll know tomorrow, actually, if the venue that I want to use is okay. If I can, I'm going to get moving forward.
All right. Mike wants to know if any new DVP is coming. I know where you'll go with this, but
unfortunately, Willie passed, and Willie was the lock to DVP. Willie was the one.
Willie Lang.
Willie came up with it all, even though he didn't write any of the music. Myself, Chuck, and the other guitar players.
Greg Bustamante.
Between Greg and Steve Rebello and Andy Billy, we wrote the songs. But I mean,
you really can't do it without the backbone.
We did a thing about a year and a half ago where we did this benefit at this bar, and we played 4 songs. And because my brother was a part of it, John had played on a couple of. He actually played the bass that night, and no disrespect to my brother whatsoever, but it just wasn't the same, and I don't feel that it's a good idea to go write new music without Willie, even though some people think it's like paying respect to him, but
well, maybe you'll do it live, and these one-offs are good too.
Me and Chuck are very busy with the projects that we're doing right now, and we've talked about that many times, so it's like, you guys don't want me to take away from Exodus, for Christ's sakes, it's taken 7 fucking years to put a record out, so, we want to stay busy with that. So my focus now 100% is Exodus.
Right.
Totally. So.
Anyway, I thought that as we answer some of these questions and we go in and out of it, I thought a good thing would be to bring up some things that happened in the news and music news lately, and one of them being the Eisters, John Schaefer, being held at Indiana jail and will be extradited to Washington, D.C.
Now, he's the main guitar player for the band, right?
Not singer. He is the guitar player and the writer.
And he's been the one who's been there longer than anybody.
He's the main man at Eister. Yes.
Wow. Well, I guess...
That's why politics and music don't mix. You see
that's why I don't talk politics or religion or COVID on the vault, because I don't know anything about it, and it's none of my business. And we want to have a good time here. We want to get away from all that stuff. It's unfortunate that things can escalate to that sort of thing. I respect the man for being very passionate about what he believes in. Unfortunately, sometimes if you carry it too far, you may you may burn
bites
it
you in
and
the
it
butt.
may bite you in the butt. So,
All right. And then there's been rumors about King Diamond gonna reunite some of the old players, and there's been a thing. How would you like that?
I don't know. I would think that's a kind of, well, we're more of a band. I mean, King Diamond is King Diamond. It's not called, our bands are not called, Jack Gibson or Lee Altus or Gary Holt or Tom Hunting or Zetro. It's called, Exodus.
Okay.
So I think that that's the difference there. But I mean, again, Andy's been with him forever, and I love him. He's the most amazing guitar player, producer, Andy LaRocque. And so, he's got his thing going down. What else you got?
Well,
for
we'll
me?
see. You know what? A while ago, I was looking at the Blabber News, Blabbermouth, if anybody gets their music news from them. But anyway, they mentioned you in a story that on one of our live episodes that you claimed to predict Metallica's chart-topping success in 1985.
Okay, I didn't claim to predict it. I just felt at that time that the music that we were playing and writing
But someone asked you, and you told them, right?
was
Is
so,
that the story?
was so cutting edge that at the time, and I remember the conversation, this was in 1985, before Masters come out, but right after the Lightning had come out. And this guy played in a hair metal band, which was getting all kinds of run at that time. Metallica didn't even have a video on MTV yet, because their first video didn't come till And Justice for All and won. And so I just said, he said to me, he said to me, man, do you ever think Metallica will ever be on the radio? I go, oh my God. As society gets heavier, so is the music. And believe me, they'll be the number one band in the world at some point, if that's the case, probably. And I remember saying that to him, not knowing that it wasn't. So it wasn't like I was fucking Nostradamus and I was predicting it. I just felt because of the attention that they were getting at the time. In our genre of music, they were the one that was the most noticed. And they seemed to be getting that edge push. And I was watching society get more heavy. I mean, AIDS had just come out. Crack cocaine. Crips were killing Bloods. Bloods were killing Crips. It was like, society was getting, in the middle of the 80s, it was a fucking war zone. Going into the 90s was a mess. I think in a lot of ways it's cleaned up, in a lot of ways it hasn't. But I just felt as society's ideals got more heavy, so with the subject matter, and so with the music, and not predicting. But
and time has changed them because
Metallica's far the biggest band in the world, and nobody can argue that. You know what I mean? But I wasn't like I was gonna watch 35 years from now, man. You're gonna see. It's like I just felt that a band, them or someone like them, maybe us or who else could have done that. But I mean, obviously, after the Black Record came out in '90, it was a whole nother ball game. But even Masters and Justice for All, they were those records were great albums and they were well received, and that's what really catapulted them to their success, was kicking ass live and doing killer records, and that's what it was. So nobody handed them shit.
All right. Another thing that just came out in the news was that Bon Scott is officially, or post-officially, releasing, after 50 years, his Fraternity time before ACDC. He sang in a band called Fraternity, and they're releasing a box set. I was wondering if you knew about that.
No, didn't know. But I thought he played in a band called Bon Scott and the Valentines, because I've been through the records, loping through the records before. When I'm on tour, and I'll go to a record store, and I'll go to the AC, and I'll see every once in a while Bon Scott and the Valentines. So I did not know about that.
All right. And another thing I thought was interesting is Fear Factory's Dino had his car, while he was driving it, struck by a big 45 caliber bullet. And I thought that was pretty funny, driving around in LA.
Was it deliberate?
Well, the LAPD asked him about it and if he had any enemies, and quote, he said yes, and named 3 people. Let's see where this investigation goes. But we don't know what could happen. But it's just ironic, that even
Move out of the neighborhood, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Did we get any? What did we get for? We got to give some stuff away here. Did we get any names?
we got some good things. We're gonna go through them. We have to go through the recipes and look at them or whatever. We'll pick a few and put it in the comments section after.
Okay, and we'll do the same thing with the coffee.
We're at 45 minutes right now, so
Yep, you got about another 5 minutes.
have you gave a listen to the new Cannibal Corpse?
I haven't, but I saw that it's come up, so I do need to listen to that. My favorite one lately is Punch the Sky, Armored Saint. It's really fucking good. Fucking killer.
All right, thoughts on Jeff and Possessed's newest music? I know you love
Anything
that.
they do is great. Come on now. That's the origin of fucking death thrash metal right there, baby. I love Possessed, and if you like what we do, it's great. He's got a really good band behind him now. I love those guys. Out to you, Mr. Jeff Becerra. We love you. We're gonna get you in the vault one of these days, or the vault's gonna come get you. Definitely.
Have you ever listened to any of the Blaze Bailey solo stuff other than the Iron Maiden?
No, but I like the Iron Maiden stuff. I do. I like the 2 records that he did with Iron Maiden. So I thought they had a little bit of a heavier edge to them, honestly. But that's just what I'm.
And Eric wanted to say, are you guys listening to Bad Brains? Most of New York hardcore bands love them.
I have listened to Bad Brains, and you're right. New York hardcore guys listen to Bad Brains. It's kind of like it was like our Dead Kennedys, kind of like if you grew up in San Francisco, you knew the fucking Dead Kennedys, where Bad Brains was, but still amazing. I'd seen them probably 3 times.
Have you heard of this band called Terror? They're from Los Angeles, hardcore. They're really good. Have you heard of them?
I don't think
I'll have
so.
to turn you on to them because
Terror.
our buddy Ted swears by them, and I bought an album and it's really good. Hardcore. But a lot of guys, hardcore, thrash metal, all that is kind of punk. It's all interwoven, but All right, and
Let's take a couple more, and then we'll let you guys go.
Do you like sativa or indica or the hybrid?
Man, I'm indica guy. I'll take and whatever. It's because weed don't matter, because I fucking love to smoke weed. But I like to get devastated. I mean, I've been buying this shit at the dispensary because, again, I live in California, people, and I can fucking buy it legally. And it looks like a cough syrup bottle, and it's called Canaline. And it's got 1,000 milligrams of THC in this bottle, so you could take as much as you want. I put me a little NyQuil thing and fill that, boom. About a half hour later, you're ready to go to sleep. It will put you down. You're just killing it. And I do the crumble on top of my bowls, but I'm an indica guy. I like it. Jack Hare is my favorite strain. So if I'm on tour and you fucking want to come by and go, Zetro, I got a present for you. Jack Hare's my favorite, but I don't kick no weed out of bed. Just let you know, I don't drink alcohol. I don't even drink fucking soda anymore. Goddamn it!
I do an indica, but in a concentrate, and I take one hit. It's 92%, and I get high on one hit is all I need, and I don't want to constantly smoke out of my lungs, so I try to protect myself. But anyway.
Well, I try to protect myself, but I've been doing 7 miles a day, people. As you can see it.
And
Get a little thinner.
any good Pantera memories?
Oh God,
that was a fun tour.
I could do a whole fucking episode on that.
Do you remember that motorhome? Like in the first DVD they had, their
They
motorhome.
destroyed it.
They destroyed it little by little.
But there was pieces of that motorhome that was fun. There wasn't a night that went by on that Cowboys from Hell. It was Pantera, Exodus, Suicidal, and we were on tour for Impact. Suicidal was on tour for Lights Camera Revolution. That's when Robert Trujillo was in the band.
Yeah.
And then and Pantera had just put out Cowboys from Hell, and we were tearing every night. It was a fucking, oh my God. I got stories that I need to do a whole episode on that, because
I remember Diane being out in front of the hotel at like 2. You think you were staying out late? You come home at like 2 or 3 in the morning. But Diane would be out there till the sun came up sometimes, drinking the Black Tooth.
Crazy, those guys. They were the first guys to start filming everything that was going on, because back then cameras were this fucking big, but they did. That's why that first Cowboys video is a lot of them backstage. If you go back in the day, people didn't really film it as much back. We did. We brought you. We did. But a lot of bands didn't.
That's right. And you like the new ACDC Power Up?
Yes, very much so. It's great. It's back to what AC/DC to me exemplifies. The songs rock. It's got a good groove to it. Although, again, because I'm a Bon Scott era guy, I like the more body, metaphorical lyrics to sexual references and other things. That's what I liked about the way Bon wrote. But I'm an AC/DC fan. Doesn't say I don't like Brian. I just do the Bon Scott era because my voice fits it. That's why.
Mr. Death Joe wants to know, what's your favorite tattoo?
That I have?
That's what he wants.
I always say my Exorcist one, and that's this one.
Yeah.
Right there.
That
That is my favorite tattoo that I have, because The Exorcist is my favorite horror movie. And again, I'm going to show you guys my motorcycle that has been in Arizona for the last 3 months, being painted by the amazing Lee Diaz. You always find him on social media at art_Diaz and check out his shit. He's done a complete horror motif to my motorcycle, and I get it back Friday after 3.5 months. But it's beautiful. I have the pictures of it, and I'm like I'm waiting like it's Christmas, because my motorcycle's sitting on the other side of the vault right now with no tanks, no fenders, no fairing, no all my painted parts, no front chin spoiler, all that shit.
Favorite Pantera album?
Come on. Vulgar.
That's my favorite.
Come on. And that's from that title. You know what that's from?
No.
It's from The Exorcist.
Oh,
You don't know
so that's
that.
a title. No, I
It's a
typed it
title.
in.
See, this is... you didn't know that. Where he comes when he goes, she's sitting there, and she opens up the drawer, and she closes it, and Father Damien goes, do it again, and she goes, too vulgar of a display of power.
All right. Yeah, someone said my beard is awful, but then someone said his beard is... But then someone said it's awesome. But...
I don't know. It's Walt. You know, every time you come over, I expect a big present, like it's today Christmas or something.
Anyway, I thought that was funny.
All right. Well, we came in. We've been in about 52 minutes.
Thanks everybody. I didn't get
Thanks
to
for coming.
everybody.
We didn't get to everybody. We love when you come in. It looks like we'll probably be going live more. I got some guests coming in, but this has been a lot of fun. So this will be up. Remember to subscribe to my channel, because you're helping Walter and I out, and I can do more of these as we do that. Share this with other people. Let people know about this. Everybody who's everybody, like I said, from Crystal to Claire and Chris and everybody, and Dagobah Systems and Metal Dams. You guys are all great. We know that you come in and comment.
Ward Quail.
And Ward's always in. Ward's been my friend since like 3rd grade.
We're going to go and pick the winners and put them in the comments.
Yeah, and then we're going to pick the winners. And again, so when we put them in the comments, pay attention, because we'll message you somehow through that to let you know that
and then you'll contact
2 of you have won coffee packages, and then you'll get a hold of greyhavenmedia.net, and we'll send them to you, and we'll get you that
while you're drinking your Death Wish coffee.
Yep.
And throwing some of the hot sauce.
Eggs in the morning. If you're having eggs in the morning, you could have hella hot sauce.
That's in your diet, though. You can do that.
Oh, yeah, it's totally.
Eggs,
Yeah. Now, also, if you want to send someone a shout out from me, go to cameo.com. I can send a birthday greeting from you to someone else, and it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Now, don't do it on the Apple device, because Apple takes money, and screw Apple. They got enough money as it is. But go to cameo.com, request me, and I could say, hey, happy birthday, hey, happy anniversary, hey, fuck you, your boyfriend says you're a douchebag, he wants to break up with you. No, usually they're just good ones.
So. The last one says, squeeze the bike into the vault. Little do they know.
We're not squeezing. Anyway,
the bike is here.
The bike's here in the vault, but you don't get to see.
That's where it lives.
It's part of it. So anyway, for me and Walter, we'll see you guys maybe next week. We'll see you up. Okay, later.